Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't done already, make sure you check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat and also in the description below, so you definitely can't miss out on that. You can find your discount code opportunities there if you're looking to get 50% off your next Elevating Traders challenge. And if you're looking to connect, chat with other traders, including myself, about different trading opportunities, you can find all of that there in the Discord. So make sure you go check that out. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. What's up, CS Integrated? Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone is doing good and had a good weekend as well, rested. So we'll start with USD as always. I'm still holding some long positions on silver, which I entered on Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday. Which I entered on Thursday. Held that over the weekend. Looking okay so far. First target area, which I'll look to book some profits, trail my stop, sorry, would be this level here at 30.169. So if we can get a push to that area, I will remove risk. And again, the end goal, the target for the trade is to swing it back into 32 as we go to the higher time frames, particularly the daily chart. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. Massive level of resistance, which initially I was actually looking to buy from. Prior to the elections, I was looking to buy on a retest of this level, but I stayed out the market because of the increased volatility that we'll see upon the election. So I did stay out the market. We had a deeper push down, come back into a strong area of support, was actually flipped as resistance not long ago as well. So I've been looking for the bounce at this particular level, and so far we are seeing that bounce. I don't expect it to go for forever because looking at gold, which is of course very correlated with silver, gold to me has had a really big break of structure. We'll get into gold in a minute. Really big break of structure, and looks like, yes, we might see some retracement gold, but the bigger move might still be to the downside. So if that's the case, there's a good chance silver will probably see something like that as well. So the buyers I'm taking advantage of probably are a bit more in the short term horizon. We're not probably looking to hold all the way back to the highs up there. It might just be a situation where we see some upside, probably very corrective upside, and then maybe price continues down later on. So it might be a situation where I buy too short later on. We'll see what type of price action we get. But so far, looking okay, holding on to 30 pretty well. Now looking for a retest of that high to remove risk. In terms of the DXY, in terms of USD, of course, we're very stretched, very bullish the past few weeks. And price is trading at some big levels where I do expect to see some downside from. As you can see, resistance over there, major resistance over there, and now we just about tapped into that same area. So I do expect DXY to see some downside this week pretty much. Again, we could potentially break through the level, but when we're coming to such big levels like this, I'm always anticipating price to react rather than suddenly break through. If we do see another bullish candle this week and price does break through, I'll reanalyze and go from there. Maybe price is just going to continue higher. And of course, I'll talk about some pullbacks and probably some longs all the way back to the high over there. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity if we were to break. But for now, since we're trading at that level, bit of a wick to the upside last week, I think the market's pretty stretched in general and likely to react. So I'm anticipating some downside now for USD. Dropping to the lower time frames, we are seeing signs of that. Daily chart, bearish candle there on Friday. Not much other than that, to be honest. Not like a lot of exaggerated wicks or bearish engulf candle, just a lot of indecision really. And the 4 hour, same situation as well. Price is kind of just moving sideways here, stuck at that area. Might see a push up, take the highs out, and then a move down. That's a possibility. Any kind of early sellers who were shorting from last week probably got their stops just above the high there. Could see the market go and take that out this week, look pretty bullish. And then maybe towards the end of the week, we have a bit of a dive. So the bigger move for me for USD is likely to be to the downside. So I am looking at some weakness for USD. Maybe we see a bit of strength first, but I am more focused on the weakness until I see a convincing break above that. Then, of course, I will look more into the buying side of things of US dollar. But as a swing trader, the buys have already done their thing. Now it's more in sellers territory. Market's pretty stretched. So I've got to be favoring sells from here. So 102, 107, 200 for me looks like a nice place to short from. Of course, looking at Euro USD, it's polar opposite. It's doing the exact same thing, but retesting major support. And again, I'm looking for a bounce. I think dollar is Euro USD is very stretched as well. Big bearish candles in the past few weeks, couple of weeks in particular. And the market hasn't really seen much upside. We had a bit of upside just before the US elections, but not much compared to the massive drop we've seen since September, sorry. So the market's pretty stretched. And I think we're likely again to see some upside this week. Don't get me wrong, it might just be something like this for us to continue down. In fact, I do like some short opportunities for euro if we're to pull back into this low or this low here, because at that point we're still riding the momentum, but at least we're not trading into massive support. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm not looking to short in these areas. Not that we can't go lower, but because price is testing major support. So it doesn't really make sense for me to short here unless you're on the lower time frames looking for some intraday moves. Scalps, of course, you can take some quick shorts and be in and out the market. But if you're going to hold a trade more than a day, it's always going to be very difficult to take trades or take shorts in these areas. So you need price to have a bit of relief, a bit of a pullback. At least a push into 1.07 looks good. Probably got a nice 0.618 pullback on this leg here. Yeah, bang on the money there, 0.618 as well. So it's a healthy pullback and a much better place to be looking to short. We can look for some entries in that area. So yeah, Euro USD is definitely bearish. If you're looking to short, looking to follow that momentum makes a lot of sense, but you need price to have a bit of relief first. I think 1.07 is a nice area. If you're looking to long, this is the place to do it. Always an aggressive trade. I'll probably wait for another push down before looking to buy, because at the moment, again, we're pretty flat, which is a nice sign because it shows the price is respecting the low, but it would be nice if you can push down and then push up. That would be a nice entry signal to take Euro USD buys. And you have to be a bit patient as well, because if you're going to take buys in these conditions, although, yes, we're at a great level where we're likely to bounce, the market is still so bearish. So you're trying to catch a falling knife as well. So it's always going to be very difficult. But if we are going to push up for euro, this is the place expected to happen. Similar situation for pound USD, expecting some upside, not necessarily so focused on the buys or pound. But I do like the opportunity for retracement to sell it back down again. As you can see, coming back into some big levels on the weekly time frame, daily time frame as well. Looks like we just about poked through this low here as well. But more or less, we're trading some big swing lows where we did see some big swings from these areas. So I do think we'll see some upside for pound at some point. I do like the shorts, but they're pretty far away. So not too sure we'll get there. I think euro looks the more realistic one to short if we do see a pullback. I like this low up there around 1.286, 285. If we're to see a nice pullback this week on pound, I think that's a nice place to short. Basically continue with all of these major lower highs. That high there, low, high, new low, new high, so on and so forth. The key concept is we're looking to take advantage of that momentum. A really strong drop last week, and now we're looking for price to pull back into that. And again, another 0.618 retracement. So yeah, with the USD pairs, there's a lot of momentum to the upside, and I think longs look good. Actually, if you're looking to still take advantage of dollar strength, I think the best pair for that is probably dollar CAD, actually, because dollar CAD, did not mean to do that, because dollar CAD had a really strong break outside of its weekly resistance and a really strong close on the weekly candle as well. So you can see really strong weekly resistance. Price has gone and cleared that. So if you were to come down to the downside this week and come back and retest this, there's a nice level in the 4 hour, which looks good for a long, because not only are we retesting the 4 hour level, also retesting that weekly level there as well. So again, the market is still pretty stretched too. So I wouldn't look for a crazy move of dollar CAD, because you can see we've been bullish for quite a while. So I do think at some point we'll see a bigger, more complex retracement with dollar CAD. But for now, still a very convincing break to the upside here last week. So again, if dollar CAD was to push the downside, retrace, I think this is a healthy place for a buy. Probably again hitting your 0.5 or 0.618. Well, 0.5 there. If I draw it from that low, in between the two, but more or less still a healthy retracement. So I like this one in terms of the longs, because at least we're not trading into a big level. We've got a big level to our backs here if the market was to retrace. So I think dollar CAD longs look good. Just again, you're asking for a lot in the pullback, but I think that's a really nice setup to keep an eye out for. In terms of Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar in particular, I think there's still a bit more downside in the tank. We're not quite at the level I've been looking to anticipate a long from. So this is the lower. I've been looking for a bounce 0.64. This looks like a nice place for a buy. Price is not quite there yet, still in a bit of limbo right now. So it would be nice to see Aussie dollar drop a little bit more, and then that could be a nice place to long from. And if you're looking to sell, I think this still looks like a nice place to short from as well. Really strong low, broke through pretty well. Not as healthy pullback as maybe euro or pound, because we're talking about the 0.5, 0.618. In this case, we're not even to those areas, but it's still a nice level. And should price pull back into that, I would anticipate some more bearish momentum kicking in to the downside to get us to that 0.64 level on the daily chart. Because again, if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture, all price has been doing is just fluctuating between resistance and support. Really strong rejection of the high not long ago. So naturally, you would expect us to reach support. And the next big level is that 0.64 area. So expecting a bit more downside this week, and maybe we see a bounce later on. New Zealand dollar, similar situation, although I believe we have hit the level. Price is still looking a little bit bearish. There is a low just underneath us, which we may push into before seeing some upside. So the low here, which gave us a really big move to the upside last time we're at those prices. So if this level doesn't hold, we might push a little bit lower to go and test 0.58 before seeing some upside. But the move I'm looking for is some upside for New Zealand dollar. Really impressive move to the downside. The market's very stretched, not much upside. So I won't be looking at shorts at these prices at all. Yeah, I would only be looking at longs. And since it looks like we're breaking through this low here, this would be the next area I will contest that and then expect more upside there. So market stretch, USD stretch, looking for a pullback. That's the main theme I'm looking at. Gold, similar situation as well. Big drop to the downside for gold past few days. We're looking a little bit bullish on Monday, but again, I expect retracement anyway. That's kind of what I'm expecting for the other USD pairs. They just haven't done it yet. So I'm expecting gold to push higher. In fact, the area which I would like to short from would be this area here, 2650. I think that's just above your 0.618 area. Yeah, more or less on the money there. So again, that'll be a healthy pullback for me. We've had a nice break of structure, retest the area, and then expecting continuation. So I like that setup for gold. But yeah, I want to see a bit more upside. And of course, silver, I'm currently already long, but it's because I'm looking to take advantage of that retracement and then potentially might sell gold, at a later date and take the profit here of silver. But yeah, that's kind of my main plan with USD. It's been so bearish. I think it's time it's due a retracement. The only difficult thing is if you're looking to take advantage of that retracement, catching that falling knife as we saw for euro, it's always going to be a little bit difficult to try and catch the buys there. But they'll probably be pretty rewarding if they do happen. You expect to see a lot of momentum to the upside pretty soon. Okay, got bearish bias on the DXY at the moment. It's traded 106.141. Before further upside based on hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. Okay. Will, what's up? Good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a good weekend too. What's up? Munera. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Hope you're doing well. Pound USD. So yeah, as I mentioned with Pound USD, it's at a nice little level. I do expect to see some upside. Again, it's always difficult to call the buys because with falling markets, it's like, okay, where are we going to turn from? You can always anticipate areas where price might bounce, but it's always a difficult proposition. It's always easier to go with the trend rather than go against it. But we have hit some levels where I do expect to see market retrace from. I wouldn't jump into buys myself. It's a little bit too aggressive for me, given that all the momentum we've been seeing. Who knows? Maybe price wants to continue even further back down to that low. That's a possibility. But I do think the market is due retracement. In terms of the sells, I do like the sells because at least we're flowing with momentum, and this level here gives me an opportunity to capitalize on a healthy pullback back into a nice level of support, which we haven't retested yet. So it's still fresh. And if we get nice rejections out of that area, I think it's a nice place for a lower high to form. So in terms of looking for pro trend trades, I do like this opportunity here at 1.285. It's just a big if we'll get there this week. You're looking at if we measure that, let's make sure we can all see that. If we measure that, we're looking at about a 260 pip move there. So it's a pretty big move to see in even 1 week for Pound USD, even with all the momentum we've got at the moment. So yes, we might get there. It might be late in the week, Thursday, Friday, you're looking at. But that to me looks like a nice setup, to be honest, too short. At the moment, price still looking pretty bearish. I can understand people looking to long here. It's just you might want to give yourself a bit of room with the stop. And of course, understand it's more of a risky proposition. So you're more likely to, if you take 100 of these trades here, that's 100 of these trades, you will have a higher win rate with these trades rather than these ones. So, be prepared for that. Although the risk reward is normally better with these ones than these ones because this could be the start of a new trend, which could keep going. So there is pros to it as well. It's just a much riskier trade. But again, just because a trade is riskier doesn't mean you shouldn't take the trade. It just means you should be well aware that it's riskier, so maybe reduce your position size. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound USD. A bit of a bounce. Same thing with euro as well. Bit of a bounce there for euro. In fact, I like euro a little bit better because euro, we've got this kind of consolidation here. So, everyone who is already everyone who's kind of already long from last week, all their stops are kind of just here. So if the market was to make a big sudden move to the downside and then suddenly become bullish again, I know that's flushed everyone out of the market ready. And then we could be seeing some upside from then onwards. So I think that's a nice opportunity for buy. Again, still an aggressive trade because, again, we're looking to catch, this falling knife here over the past few weeks. So it's still pretty aggressive, but yeah, a nice area. You can get a fairly decent stop loss. And if it is going to bounce, you've got a pretty decent risk reward opportunity on your hands there, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, maybe even more than that, depending on your entry too. So there's definitely upside potential there with the USD markets. And on the flip side, if we don't bounce and we see price just completely break through these areas, then I'm actually liking that opportunity as well. Because if you do see a really sustained break of this level here at 1.05, if I jump to the weekly chart, should we break through this level, then I'm expecting a one-way path, one-way street, all the way back down to that low there at 0.965 and a push to 113, 114 on the DXY. So there's a lot of opportunity to the downside. And these conditions, hopefully, will be similar to the trend we had in 2022. If you do see a strong break of that, probably see some nice trends forming as price pushes lower. And my job, which we look to short these pullbacks, as much as possible, as much as my plan allows me, of course. So if we do break, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity going forward. If we don't break and we bounce, I feel like there's still a lot of opportunity because the market's had a really stretched move, so it's likely to bounce. And if it doesn't bounce, we'll speak about the shorts in more detail. But yeah, for now, that is definitely the plan I have for euro this week. And again, if you're looking for shorts, I would wait for a bit more upside. And this is the area which I like for a sell. 1.07, retesting that support. Again, no retest of that area. Fresh resistance. And as we mentioned earlier, lines up pretty nicely with your 0.618. So some really nice confluence in that area for some shorts. If you're expecting downside, not a bad level for it. Excuse me. What's up, Annie? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Do I think oil is going to bounce? Okay, I haven't actually looked much at oil, to be honest. I know it was pretty bearish when it ended the week on Friday. Yeah, strong move to the downside there. So again, oil's coming into a massive level on the weekly chart. Are you looking for a long-term move here, or are you looking just for a long-term perspective? So long-term, I've got to always factor the monthly chart in. Not necessarily to trade the monthly, but it's nice to see what we're doing in a longer term view. But this is certainly an area where we've seen a lot of wicks, a lot of rejection in the monthly chart. So you can see numerous rejections in this area. Price really likes coming to this level and bouncing and straying away. So I think in terms of the next kind of couple of weeks, I think this is a decent opportunity for a long. So say price does push into this area, there's a good chance we'll probably react and see some upside. That could be a nice little kind of a long trade for about 7 days, 7 to 14 days, 1 or 2 weeks. Might see a nice buy. In terms of the bigger move, because the market has been pretty consistent with all these lower highs, I do think it will eventually break through this, but we may just see a bounce first before that happens, and that could take 6 months in itself. So that breakout could take a long time before happening. We could bounce a couple more times before the break happens, and that could take 4 to 6 months, even longer. So really long-term bias, I do think will break through. But I think for now, focusing at buys in this area around 64, I think is a smart proposition because you can see all the wicks there. So again, with this month's price action, we've got 11 days left. If we keep pushing, I do think we'll just see another wick and another bounce. So yeah, dropping to the daily chart as well, just massive support in these areas. So I think a nice play would be if we can see some more downside, come back into the low here on the left, bounce out of that area. I think that's a decent little buy. And then we'll go from there. Maybe price goes on a nice little uptrend for a while and we come back down to the level, and we'll go from there. But eventually I do think we'll break through this and we'll see a lot lower prices. But for now, I would be looking at bounce first, because that breakout could take us a few, pretty long time. So I think that's too much of a long-term bias. Ben, what's up? Welcome to the stream Monday again. Beautiful Monday. Do you have a good weekend? Yes, I did. Thank you for asking. Pretty relaxed weekend, to be honest. Not too busy, which is good. What about you? Hopefully you had a good weekend, well rested. What's up, Volt Squad? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Aussie Chef tapped a reversal point. Okay, looking for a reversal on Aussie Chef. I actually do like the buys on New Zealand Sea Chef. That is where I'm focused on. Okay, I'll go through Aussie Sea Chef for you. And I'll take a look at New Zealand Sea Chef because that's still on my watch list from last week. You said tapped into a reversal area. I'm not too sure what area you're talking about. Let me know the timeframes you're working on as well. Are you looking for a buy? Something like that. Maybe you approach some areas in demand that you like here for a bounce. To be brutally honest with Aussie Chef, I do not like the pair where we're trading right now. It's a decent pair. I do trade it sometimes. But if I'm looking to trade it, because basic price has just been ranging for a while now. If I'm looking to trade it, it's because price is retesting the higher end of things up here, or price is trading at the lows and I'm looking for a bounce. If I'm going to trade a range, it's because price is at the high and I'm looking to short high, or price at the low, I'm looking to buy low. If it's in the middle, that's not for me. That's no man's land. Again, not that you can't find opportunities there. It's just not going to be high quality opportunities because it's going to be so much indecision and so much kind of choppiness in those areas. So with me, I would be looking at anything really, to be honest, for CHF. There's no kind of clear-cut structure here that I can make sense of. Like I said, I think you'll probably be looking at like a retest of some area here for a buy, and that potentially could play out. But because of the conditions, because of where we're trading, it's not an opportunity which I would favor at the moment. If price was to keep falling and retest some of the lows here around 0.562, I think that would be a really nice place for a buy. And of course, likewise, if to push back to the high end there, I would anticipate some more shorts and some downside. But where we are, not really interested in price, to be honest, because it's just a big range and we're slap back in the middle of that, which is a place which I do not like trading in. So if I was CHF, not a big fan. Okay, hourly time frame. Yeah, even again with the hourly time frame, it's just very awkward. We're being very corrective here, falling to the downside. Assume you're still looking for buy. If not, let me know. So again, if you're looking for a shorter term trade, something like this, push to this higher end, then I think that could be a nice proposition. Almost like a scalp, really nice intraday trade, because all we've been doing is moving this channel. Now price has kind of swept the lows again. You can probably expect price to bounce because that's all price is doing. Takes out the low, bounce, takes out the low, bounce, takes out the low, bounce. So again, takes out another low. Good chance we're probably going to bounce to the upside, and you can see we rejected the high a few times. So a move like that is pretty warranted. There's a good chance we could come straight back down again. And even if you do see a nice break of it, there's no sign that will just keep going. It might just mess around and turn into a bigger chop. So I would be very skeptical about the longer term, bigger move there for Aussie CHF. But in terms of where we're trading, yeah, it's not bad. I think from an hourly chart, you might get a nice buy for a few hours back to around 0.574. Anything more than that is always going to be a little bit tricky. But hey, if you are looking for a bigger move, I'm not saying don't, but maybe look at securing some profits or removing risk if you can get to the high here. And if you do see a break, you can leave the rest of positions to run risk free. If you do go and hit your higher time frame target or whatever you're looking at, great. If price does just become very choppy and it comes back against you, still walk away for smaller profit, and the trade's still worthwhile. So something like that I can buy for CHF, but nothing longer term, because as I said, we're trading in a big range, and I would avoid trading in the middle of any range really. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be looking at. Whether here's turned awful, isn't it always, Ben? Isn't it always? To be honest, I'm just used to it now. I'm just used to it. I'm immune to it. It's only in summer. I get excited for weather. Anything outside of summer, I just take it as it comes. Really, no need to get your hopes up. It's only gonna break you down. CAD CHF, I'll take a look at. I'll go through New Zealand CHF as well, because that's the pair I'm looking to buy, and then I'll go through CAD CHF. What's up, Kwame? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I appreciate that. Cease integrated. Make that like button bullish. That is a nice little phrase that I have to steal that. But yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you're finding the content useful, helpful, entertaining, any of that good stuff, show some love, subscribe. It does really help out. And I do appreciate everyone who has done so. But yeah, for CAD CHF, things are not that interesting, to be fair. All we've been doing is ranging, and that's just pretty boring, to be honest. Not really a pair I'm keen to trade, to be honest. It's been a while since I traded CAD CHF, and I don't see myself trading it anytime soon, really. I'll go through the pairs I'm looking to trade and go for my watch list in a moment. But CAD CHF, not a big fan of this. Let me know what you're looking at. Are you also looking for a 1 hour reversal? Volt scored? Let me know. Again, we are seeing some upside, so it does look like CHF is a little bit weak this morning, or at least the past hour anyway. But again, I wouldn't be looking at anything apart from playing that range until I see a convincing break. So let me go back to the day chart there. You kind of got the high of the range around here, which price had a really nasty job of trying to break through a couple of days ago. As you can see with that wick there, definitely would have faked out a few people in the lower time frames. And then we've got more or less the low of the range here. So with me, with CAD CHF, as long as we can hold this zone here at 0.63, I think this is a really nice place for a short and expect some more downside. If I map out the 50% of that range, so more or less this area, that 50% could be a nice first target, book some profits there, and then you can always let the rest run back to the low. It's always choppy inside our range, so sometimes you do see a nice move down just for price to hit 50% and go back against you, which is a little bit annoying. So sometimes booking some profits at the 50 can help mitigate against that scenario happening. So 50% is always a nice first target, and then if you're looking for the full range, that could be a second target. But because of that rejection we saw Thursday/Friday, really convincing wick to the upside, stopping out a lot of stops above there. And then all that momentum on Friday really confirms me that price is not breaking that high, or most likely isn't. So therefore, if we can sustain price at this level, there's a good chance we're going to see some downside and drop back to the low end. So that's kind of what I'll be looking at there for CAD CHF, really. Just the market that's ranging, solid rejection of the high, like to see some more downside. In terms of New Zealand CHF, I am looking for a buy for this one because of where we're trading. Really big level in the higher time frames. In fact, if I go to the weekly chart, probably see it a little bit clearer. As you can see here, really solid support. I'm looking for the bounce at this area. You can see a few wicks to the downside. And what I'm really trying to do is anticipate the next wick. So if this candle here can keep dropping, that'd be great. Looking for the next wick and then the buy to the upside. If I can probably hold those buys for a while. Because if the market is going to hold on to this, I do think there is a lot of upside for us to move into. If we're just going to break through, then of course I want to stop out, get out of the way of that, because at that point we're probably going to go fill that wick there to the downside. So probably looking to flip my bias, but at the moment still pretty bullish. The area I'm looking to buy from is a little bit further down. Looking to see if I can get some longs around this area here. And if price does hold, I'll be looking for a push right back to where we came from, which is all of the resistance here around 0.5 to 500. So looking for a buy there for New Zealand CHFs. A bit more of a counter trend trade because overall the trend is down, but it's testing a nice area. We've seen a lot of rejection. So it's a little bit more risky, but I can refine my risk pretty well, and the reward is worth it too. So if it does play out, I'm looking at a really nice trade, which I can just trail stops. If I do stop out, then the bias is going to be back bearish again. At that point, I'll be looking for some lower highs to short and hopefully make back the loss there as well. So no matter what price does, there's always an opportunity because, of course, as traders, you can always buy and sell the same market. But it's about having that kind of criteria of what makes you bullish, what makes you bearish, and sticking to that until things have changed. And for me, as long as we don't break through this low here, I will remain bullish. So looking for the bounce. If you break through, I'll rethink things and reanalyze. But for now, that is the setup I'm looking at. That is currently my watch list. So definitely going to keep an eye on New Zealand CHF this week. Do you think JPY will continue its strong bullish this week? No, I'm pretty bearish on the yen pairs, to be honest. I'm pretty bearish on the yen pairs. I could be wrong, of course, but that's my analysis. So if the yen pairs do push up, I do think they will come straight back down. I'll go through the yen pairs in detail and show you what conditions I'm looking at. But yeah, I'm pretty bearish on the yen pairs. No problem, Annie. Happy to help. What's your current position status? So yeah, I do have one position on silver at the moment. So that's the only trade I'm in. So far, moving okay. Seen some upside this morning. Hopped into this trade on Thursday, last week Thursday. Held it over the weekend, and so far we're doing pretty well, holding onto that low. The idea for the trade is basically just looking for the retest of some structure on the left, retesting that high and retesting that low there as well. Came back into a really nice area of support and essentially just trying to look to find that next higher low because there is still an uptrend here with silver. There's still an uptrend here with silver, even though it's looking pretty weak. Price is still slowly pushing to the upside, and the initial plan for silver was looking for the retest of this zone in the buy. But as I said earlier, I stayed out the market because of the US elections. So now this is the next best area, and if price was to break through that, that would make me lose my bullish bias for now with silver. So this was kind of the last point of call. I like taking trades at those areas where, if I say, okay, this level keeps me bearish, I like taking trades at that level because it's like at the extreme. Because if price is going to break through that, that means I will look to switch my bias completely around. So it means that if price does hold that area, I kind of get the maximum risk reward in the position. For example, if silver is going to continue the trend, possibly we could see a swing up there. Now, I probably won't hold the trade that long. Definitely looking to see if I can close some profits at this level. But it's nice to know that if the trend does continue, I'm in a nice place for that to happen. And scooting to the weekly chart as well, you can see overall there is a nice trend here to the upside. So I'm still looking to play that trend, even though gold's been looking pretty bearish, which does worry me a little bit because if gold is going to continue falling, then I don't expect silver to go up for too long, so I have to watch out for that. But my first target area for the trade is the level just here, 31.02. So if you can get there, I will look to go break even. So I will trail my stops to break even and see what we can do from there. And hopefully we can hit that today. That would be nice. But yeah, that's the only position I'm in currently. Like I said, there's a few markets I'm looking at, and I'll go through them. A few yen pairs I do like to the downside. New Zealand CHF we just went through, which looks really good for some buys. And there's a few others as well, which we'll get to. Yeah, very, very true. Anton, silver is very similar to gold, very closely related. So yeah, in terms of the yen pairs, there's a few I like. Pound yen, definitely one of them. I do like pound yen to the downside. To me, really, really strong break to the downside last week, taking out some key lows. I like the fact that we took up this low here as well. Overall price was pretty corrective for pound yen for the past few days, but this channel has finally met its match, and it broke really impulsively. That's the key thing I'm looking for, because you get ascending channels and descending channels all the time, but in terms of looking for the reversals, the best kind of break you want to see is really strong impulsive break. Those normally imply that, okay, momentum's completely shifted and we're likely to continue in that direction. When we kind of sometimes break very correctively, very slowly, those breakouts and don't tend to work out too well. You want to focus the ones where we get a really big candle or really big few candles, and that's the momentum you want to follow. So really nice break to the downside this week with pound yen. And as I said on my weekly analysis this week, if you were to get a retest of this zone, I would expect some more downside and a continuation of the lower highs. We had some equal highs up here, more or less. Now the market starts to print some lower highs. So I'm looking for the next one. I believe we have a 0.5 retracement. No, 0.618 retracement into that area. A lot of 0.618 retracements I'm spotting the market as of late. That looks to me like a nice opportunity this week. So yeah, the yen pairs have started a bit bullish, but I don't expect it to last. My bias, my analysis with the yen pairs is pretty bearish at the moment, and that's pretty much across the board, minus a couple. Again, I'm not looking to trade all of them. I'm just looking for the better ones. Pound yen is one of them, which is why it's on my watch list. So something like this, I do like the shorts. Looking for that next lower high and for more downside. In terms of targets, I'm looking for the retest of the high here. I'm not looking for anything crazy with pound yen, just to push back into the high there, which is around 193,600. So I can get a short back into there. That looks good to me, and that's a really nice trade for a week. In terms of the other yen pairs, so pound yen shorts look good. I really do like euro yen as well, especially because of what we did on the weekly chart too. So as you can see, if I drag this resistance here across, because this really has been my main focus for euro yen on the higher time frames, in particular the weekly chart, of course, is this really big head and shoulder pattern. We've got the left shoulder over here, we've got the head over there, and a possible right shoulder. So to me, it looks like price is rejecting this level. And if that's so, there's a really big move to the downside to be had for euro yen, back to this support where we've got all this congestion of wicks. That's kind of where I expect price to get to, back to 155. And that's a pretty big drop. That drop could take us a few weeks. So in that time, you're kind of just looking to sell the pullbacks. Any up move, sell. Any up move, sell. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for euro yen. And I really like last week's candle closure and how it closed. If I can just tidy up the chart quickly. There we go. So a nice shooting star, because we had this nice bearish close the week prior, but I wasn't too sure about that candle because it kind of closed on the level rather than below it. So I was kind of waiting for a bit more confirmation. And this week's candle kind of gave it to me. Really nice wick to the upside. Price was looking bullish for most of the week. Then by Friday, all that momentum kicked in. Close bearish, nice wick to the upside, close a shooting star. So to me, this level is being rejected. So as long as we can keep that up this week, not go and break above it, as long as we can keep rejecting this area, I'm looking for that short. So as I drop to the 4-hour chart, to me, there's another kind of head and shoulder pattern forming, which is the left over here, the head over there, and expecting kind of a right shoulder over there as well. I did say on my weekly analysis, though, I did want to see a little bit more downside. Let me just move this out of the way. We know it's there. I did say I want to see a little bit more downside. If you can go and break the low here, that would be very, very nice, because this is the low that gave us this big swing to the upside and gave us that high. So effectively, I would like to see price go and break structure and then look for the sells. That way, I know the sells will be a higher probability. And I did say this was a nice break, but I wanted to see price push on a little bit further. This is a too quick of a retracement for me. It's a strong break, yes, but I don't want price to be immediately pushing back to the upside. When price creates a level and has a strong break of it, I like price to kind of push on and then kind of have a slow retracement and come back and retest it. Those are kind of my better setups in terms of break and retest. Really strong break, slow kind of pullback, retest the level. Those normally perform pretty well. when we have like a strong break and price comes straight back to retest it, not always the better setup. Something like this is not always the better setup. So yeah, not a big fan of that break and retest. I mean, at the moment, price is looking pretty bearish anyway as a drop to the hourly. Not much rejection there anyway. So who knows, maybe Yen wants to have a slightly deeper correction first before shorting. The key move I want to see, though, is the break of this low 161. Pound yen has already given me that, so I'm not really too interested about wanting a bit more downside for pound yen. This one, I'm only actually looking for upside. I've already seen some nice lows break. So now I'm just looking for the shorts. Whereas euro yen, I need a little bit more downside before I look to short. But again, the key thing I want to see this week again is respect these lower highs. If euro yen starts doing something like this, it gets a little bit awkward. If we take out that high, that could be a bullish sign there. So I would watch out very, very quickly for that. So yeah, euro yen looking for shorts. As long as we stay below the high here at 165.036, I do expect us to eventually tip over and see a lot of downside this week. Break the low here. I think it's a green light for the shorts, and we could be looking for a push all the way to 155. So really, really key market to look at this week because it could present a lot of downside in the near future. In terms of CAD yen, that's another yen pair I do like. Those are the three yen pairs I like: pound yen, euro yen, and CAD yen. And again, CAD yen, similar situation to euro yen. I need price to give me some more downside before I look to short. Right now, it's kind of just testing that low. This is the swing low, which gave us the swing high. Not what I want to be seeing, especially as a bear. We had these higher highs and higher lows, which is great. But again, I am now looking for that short. I'm no longer looking to follow that trend. And I need that break of structure. And then I can start looking for some opportunities on the flip and take that lower. And again, the reason why I'm bearish, because again, if we scoot to the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart, you can see this massive level of resistance here, a lot of rejection once, twice, now a third time. If I kind of get rid of all my dots there, you can see all the wicks we're seeing there to the upside, especially last week's candle. Nice piercing wick to the upside, and just before the weekly candle closed, all that momentum on Friday closed, and we closed just about bearish. So we are seeing a lot of rejections. The weekly candles failing to sustain price above those areas. So if you can keep that up, there's a good chance we see some downside. And very similar pattern to euro yen, kind of a head and shoulder pattern. You got your left over here, you got your head over there, you got your right shoulder. That should take us back down into 105, maybe a lot lower there as well. So there's a lot of downside there for us to be had with CAD yen. And in terms of the opportunity, as I just said, I need that break of structure before I can find those shorts. So yeah, although the yen pairs have started bullish, I do expect it to topple out soon. And if I can see what I'm looking for in CAD yen, euro yen, and pound yen, I will be looking to see if I can help myself to some yen trades this week. But that's effectively what I'm looking at. The break of structure and some shorts. This trend looks pretty weak to me now. So it's nothing really I want to follow. Especially that momentum on Friday. And if we can get the break of structure, that'll be absolutely brilliant. And again, very similar setup to pound yen, break of the channel, looking for the retest and continuations. And not far off, but a similar setup to euro yen as well. Just want to see a bit more downside in the continuation. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs I like. Of course, you got some other yen pairs as well, but they need some work, like Aussie yen, for example. This one looks okay, but all we're doing is consolidating really. So if we're going to get any shorts this week, it's because we're breaking out below the consolidation and then getting some retests. That could be a really nice setup, to be honest, if it does give us the break and retest. But if we keep bouncing in that range, not a setup for me. I do like the fake to the upside, though. I have to say that, because that definitely did pinch a lot of stops there. And I said if that is our fake out, then of course after the fake out, you expect all the momentum to come in. It did take a few days, but we're seeing that. And if we can get a strong close this week to the downside, that could be a nice short. New Zealand yen, same sort of situation, I believe. Yep, still trading that consolidation. Nice momentum on Friday. But again, didn't really amount to anything because we're still in the range. Need price to break the low. and then we can got some nice setups there to trade, and of course a push back into this area. So as you can see through the yen pairs, I'm still keeping up that bearish bias. I do think there's more downside to be had. Kwame pound yen experiencing bearish correction. Key support 178 is holding strong for now in the 4 hour. Okay, yeah, looking at a similar move there to yourself. We might see some upside to get to those areas to retrace, but the bigger move, I'm looking to the downside. Then if we take a look at CHF JPY, that's not CHF JPY. There we go. Take a look at CHF JPY. This one as well saw some nice downside on Friday. But again, now we're retesting some areas here. I'd be a little bit careful for the shorts. I think the shorts looked good last week, but not so good anymore. Because this structure is still really corrective to me. Had all the momentum to the upside, and now prices showing me a very corrective move down. If anything, that's more of a bullish sign than the bearish sign. So that's why I'm not looking to short CHF JPY, because the market structure isn't looking promising to the downside yet, unless we were to get another big drop to the downside out of nowhere and break structure whilst we're at it. Do something like this, break the low. That would be very nice. Then yeah, I would definitely be looking at shorts for CHF JPY, but we haven't done that yet. Haven't broken structure yet, so I'm a bit more neutral CHF JPY. In terms of dollar yen was pretty bullish last week as well. The trend is still looking okay, still pretty healthy, to be honest. Looks like it's having a retest of some of the highs here on the left too. So this one nowhere near ready to be shorted in my opinion. I need price to definitely be looking to break structure here. And then something like that. Again, I would consider shorting, but we're a long way away from that. So yeah, yen pairs pretty bearish. I do think we can see a lot more upside in the near, a lot more downside in the near future. Just about being patient, to be honest. It's just about being patient. But pound yen, euro yen, and CAD yen are the 3 yen pairs I'm looking at, which are on my watch list. Ben, okay, I'll go through some indices, no problemo. Check Solana, okay, we'll have a look as well. So yeah, indices actually melted to the downside on Friday, didn't they? As the yen pairs were falling out the sky, so did the indices. And again, we kind of were expecting that. If you look at the streams last week, we were talking about retracement for the indices, and kind of, rightly so. They were so bullish after the elections. Look at that candle there, humongous candle to the upside. So naturally, I'm always going to expect retracement. New all-time highs, fresh highs. Even though the market's bullish, you're always going to expect retracement. So we are seeing a bit of that, and I would actually want a lot more of that for US 30. Really, this is the area I'll be bullish from. We've been pretty consistent bouncing at the low end of that channel, and expect that to keep going until it breaks, really. And in terms of a healthy pullback, that's really where I would like to position myself long. Anything up here, still bearish territory for me. So if you're looking for some counter trend trades, this is kind of the area you're looking for. If you're looking for some pro trend trades, then this is kind of the area you're looking at for US 30. So yeah, I would like a lot more downside before the buy. If you're looking at S&P 500, that was pretty bearish as well. A really strong drop to the downside. I think that's testing a nice area here for a buy. At the moment, the price action looks okay. I think we're probably going to have another stab to the downside. If you can see like a nice wick rejection come this New York session, I think that could be a nice buy this week, really. Have we tested the 50? I believe so. Yeah, just about coming to the 50 as well. So if you can see a nice spike to the downside there, the reason I say that is because there's still a lot of momentum in the market, and this last 4-hour candle is still pretty big. So if you look at the 3 bullish candles since then, 1, 2, 3, they're all been very small, and that could just be a smaller correction on the low time frames. So that might be like a 50-minute impulsive leg, a 50-minute correction, which might still see some more downside. So what you want to see is another push down, but a failure for that push. So that would leave behind a big wick on the 4-hour, which tells us that, okay, that intraday momentum is failing, support is holding, and on that lower time frame, that probably translates to a double bottom, and that could be a nice bounce this afternoon come the New York session. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be looking at for S&Ps, trading at a nice area, but overall still pretty bearish with all that momentum, but in a nice place for a bounce. So a nice move down, big wick, maybe take the lows out. That would be nice. Could see a nice turn of events this afternoon. And then on to NAS 100. This one, wow, really big movement to the downside with NAS. But again, NAS will still be pretty bullish. I know we created the new all-time highs not long ago. I'll still be looking at some upsides. I'm just looking at this channel here that price is created. And I'll still be looking at some buys as we come back to the low end of things. If we come back, retest that consolidation there, that would be nice. Something like that. And expect a little bit of a bounce. And look for the next high low. I probably wouldn't try and stretch the trade too far because I can tell the market's a little bit tired, still very, very corrective. And also the way we create new highs wasn't particularly great either. These were all-time highs. We shot really aggressively, then shot right back down pretty much just as aggressively. So impulse up, impulse down, never really a good move. But I still expect to see a bounce. It might just not take us back to the high. But yeah, that's kind of the setups I'm looking for on NAS. Looking to buy low on S&P and US 30 as well. Looking to buy low and expect those bounces. In terms of Solana, has that been pretty bullish? Oh, damn, that is looking pretty bullish. I suppose it's the last time I looked at Solana because I don't normally look at Solana in my own time. So it's only going to be on stream when I look at it. So yeah, last time, when was this? May 2024. But yeah, price has since held that level pretty well, and now we're looking extremely, extremely bullish. Yeah, price looks like it's destined to come back and take out that high, to be honest. So yeah, you're probably going to see Solana keep pushing, to be honest. 259.67. That's kind of where I'd be expecting price to hit and create new highs. So much momentum in the market right now and not looking like it's slowing down at all. So there might be a correction in the meantime before we make that happen. But looking at the lower time frames, looking really bullish. I think if price was to come back and retest that high, that's like a great place for a long intra-week. Nice little push there. I think that's looks like a really nice trade. So yeah, Solana, new all-time highs, I think. New all-time highs. Overall, it's a pretty bullish world for the crypto market. Bitcoin saw some upsides this morning as well. Bitcoin peaked at 93,495. I think it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin gets to the infamous 100K. I think it would be rude not to go and hit the 100K now, to be honest. And I think psychologically as well, if you think about the bigger players in the market with their millions, they're probably holding on to it and probably having 100K as a psychological target, where they're probably looking to take positions off and realize some gains as well. So I think 100K around there, we might see another reaction for Bitcoin, maybe another one of these consolidations and retracements. But until then, I think it's onwards and upwards. So yeah, still really bullish on Bitcoin. And of course, if Bitcoin keeps pumping, that'll probably drag other cryptocurrencies as well. ETH's been looking a little bit mixed, to be honest. It's been very bullish, but it's had a much bigger correction than Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin shows some new highs, that probably start pumping Ethereum. How's XRP doing? Looking good as well. So yeah, overall, it's a pretty bullish world, and I'm not really seeing signs of slowing down. I'm not seeing signs of slowing down. Yeah, maybe price is a little bit corrected now, but again, we could easily just see another strong close, and we're looking bullish again. So I wouldn't be too alarmed at that. Yeah, I would not be too alarmed. I think we'll probably see a lot more upside in the near future. How is JP225 looking? Is that looking bearish? Okay, so we did sell off a little bit on Friday. That was Friday's candle, right? Yeah. So I was keeping an eye on this one, the Japanese index, because I've been looking at this level here, 39,200, and if price has a big sell from this area, yeah, I think that could be game over for the yen pairs, really. We might see that big move I've been talking about. A few attempts to try and break above it have proven have proven to be inadequate. And if we keep that up, could be looking at a pushback to 35K, more or less this low here. Of course, if we break through, then we're probably going to push back to the high. But so far, I'm not liking the rejections there, especially on the wicks there on the weekly candle. I always keep an eye about the higher time frame wicks in comparison to a level, and I think that's a good note to keep an eye of. Say if like price is rejecting a level here on the hourly chart and seeing some closures above, if those candle closures above the level translate to wicks on the 4-hour or wicks on the higher time frame, then it's most likely price just having a few fake outs and most likely you're going to see some downside. So although the daily chart has been breaking above the level and seeing some candle closures, just scooting to the weekly chart and just seeing all the wicks there tells me that this area is doing a pretty good job at holding. So yeah, I think downside is pretty likely. Really strong close on the week as well last week too. So if we can break the floor here, which price is having a little bit of trouble at, I think that will open the floodgates for the Japanese index and could take us back into the lows down here. And yeah, that would mean more downside for the yen pairs as well. So keep an eye on this one, because if we start breaking that low, expect the yen pairs to follow. How is the JPY basket that doing? Has it broken out of that channel or? Okay, it has broken out the channel. Nice. Okay, so yeah, if that can keep up, I mean, it's stuck at some resistance here, so it does have that to contend with. But if we can form a higher low, preferably on the retest of the channel, yeah, I do think the basket will see some upside. And again, if that happens, that's another reason why you expect the yen pairs to fall, because the yen pairs are inversely correlated to the yen basket. When this does push up, the yen pairs do fall as well. So everything is pointing in signs of yen weakness, really. So even though we've started off pretty bullish this week, euro yen's pushed up pretty strongly. Pound yen's seeing a bit of upside as well. Dollar yen's been pushing up, but then USD's been pretty strong. So kind of expecting that one to be fair. CAD yen start off a little bit bullish at the low too. So I'm not too worried about that bullish momentum. I do think it's only temporary. And for me to be back bullish on the yen pairs, as in convincingly bullish, and I need this momentum to really push and take out some of these highs again to show me that, okay, this uptrend is still alive and well, and we're actually looking healthy, not corrective, because that's why I haven't been looking for buys for the yen pairs, because it's been so corrective, especially jumping over to pound yen as well. You know, that uptrend we've seen over the past few days has been so corrective. And I'm never really going to look to follow trends like this, because I know from experience that these trends normally end pretty quickly. And normally the better move is the short. So yeah, even though we are seeing a bit of upside, I'm not too scared about that. I do think the bigger move is still likely to the downside. So that's kind of where my focus lies with the yen pairs. But only really with euro yen, pound yen, and CAD yen. The other yen pairs I'm not too keen on. In terms of my watch list, so of course I'm going to keep looking to manage silver. That's of course my main focus at the moment. Break even at that level is the plan. Looking to buy New Zealand CHF at the low. 0.516. If you can see a bit more downside, that would be fantastic. And I'll look for some entries at that level. Of course, in terms of the yen pairs we just went through, so pound yen shorts at 196.770. Euro yen shorts. Well, euro yen shorts, I'm looking for that low, but I need euro yen to break structure first. But if we can do that, 163.500. And CAD yen, kind of the same boat as well. Break the low. I'm looking for shorts on the retest of that area. Let me just clean the chart up quickly. And to be fair, I also do like Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, the ones that are consolidating. They just need to break out really. And if they do break out well, I'll add them to the watch list. And at that point, I'll have like 5 or 6 yen pairs I'm looking at. But to be honest, I'm only going to take one of those positions because they all do the same thing roughly. They're all going to fall together or rise together. So it just depends really whichever one looks best at the time. is the one I'll take. But if Aussie yen has a really nice break at the consolidation and comes back for a retest, I can maybe be looking to trade Aussie yen. I'll just find the better one. Of course, same thing with New Zealand yen too. Strong break of the consolidation might open up the door to some nice shorts. Should we get a nice little retest? This area here needs to be a strong break though. And then I'll eye that up. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of yen. In terms of USD pairs, I do like the retracements on them. So that is what I'm eyeing up. It's just I'm not so focused on them because I'm not too sure we'll see it this week. So for Euro, I do like the retest of 1.07 for some sells. Really nice leg to the downside. We're testing some big levels of support right now. So if the market was to push up, I do think we'll see some retracement and hopefully a rejection of that low. And all I'm looking to do is just keep following that momentum we've seen for the past however long. So I do like the shorts there for Euro yen. But again, I'm just not too sure we'll see it this week. It's on the watch list, but I'm not too sure we'll get there. In terms of pound USD, I like the shorts as well. It's pretty much the same opportunity as Euro USD, but again, similar situation. Not too sure we'll get there. I'll keep an eye on it. But I like it. Looking to follow this bearish leg retracement, looking for the continuation, and then you got your lovely gold market as well, which is also another pair I like. Really nice move to the downside, lovely support. Haven't retested yet. Looking for the retest at 26.50, lower high, and a continuation. Pretty much identical setups to Euro and Pound. And I have to say, gold's probably my favorite out of the two because Euro USD and Pound USD are both falling crazy. Whereas gold's been flying like crazy, of course, for the whole year pretty much. I've only just finally saw a big break of structure. So that tells me there's a bit more room to the downside on gold versus Euro and Pound, which are just choppy FX pairs, really. Gold could still potentially pull back and retest the zone here. So there's a lot more room to the downside. So if I get a nice short on gold, especially with trading stops, who knows how far it could go. So, gold looks really good. Just again, need to see that upside. And that's kind of really where my watch list lies. Not really looking at the CAD pairs. I was going to look at Euro CAD, to be honest, for some shorts, but I didn't like the weekly candle close. In fact, Euro CAD's almost pulled into the zone I was looking to short from. Yeah, it's just missed it by a few pips. But I was going to look to short Euro CAD, but I didn't like the weekly candle close. It was a nice breakout, but it just left behind a big wick. Not really a good sign there. Not really a good sign. So, I'm going to give that one a miss. But it could still play out. Game of probabilities, but because the quality of the setup's being reduced and there's other quality positions elsewhere, that's the luxury of trading multiple markets. It's not that you have to choose one market and consistently trade that opportunity. If there's a better opportunity elsewhere, I'm just going to go and trade that one. So with EuroCAD, it might still play out, but the big wick has definitely put me off the trade. So no longer looking to short EuroCAD. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my watch list. Yeah, it's pretty much it. There's a few on there, to be honest. And a lot of similar pairs, like half of them here and half of them are USD, and then just one New Zealand CHF. So a lot of them are very similar, but again, the way I trade is I box off the kind of correlations I'm looking at. So if you look at my kind of list here, you got the yen pairs up there, you got the USD pairs here. So if I do get a trade from the yen pairs, that's kind of like that box ticked. I don't really look to get back involved in another yen pair until that trade's risk free. Got the USD pairs here, got the CAD pairs there, got the crosses and CHF pairs there as well. So I'm looking at the yen pair shorts. I'm looking at the USD pair shorts after a pullback, and then a long on CHF, and that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I do agree, Will. JPY shorts look very, very promising. I have to keep a close eye on it because, again, with the yen pairs as well, it's it can be a very interesting situation because the yen pairs, they do tend to drop heavy. If you look back at prior price action for the past couple of years, especially in pound yen, um, price sells off twice as hard as it rises. It's almost like an indice, or a stock market, um, or a stock. The market does tend to drop twice as hard. So of course that really does, illustrate my point very, very well. You can see a really slow grind here, and then when it sells off hard. Another strong sell off there, another strong sell off there. See, we grind higher, big sell there, even a big sell there as well, even a strong sell there. Fairly strong sell there. That was a bit slow. Really strong sell there. Really strong sell there. We slowly grind higher. So that's kind of how the market moves. Not all the time, but I would say 75% of the time, that's how the yen pairs do move. They kind of grind high, and they hit the gas when it comes to selling. That's a really big sell there too. So if we are going to see a bit of a bearish trend form or sell off, it's probably going to be a hard, heavy hitting sell. So it's one definitely not to miss out on. If you get the opportunity, of course, you don't want to be starting to force trades out of fear of missing out. But if you do get set up, it ticks the criteria, don't be afraid to take it, because who knows, you could be onto a really big winner, especially for trading stock. So yeah, I do like the sells here for the yen pairs. It's just about staying patient, really. It is Monday. I don't expect the setups to form now because we had such a bearish end to Friday. So I expect price to probably stabilize, maybe push up Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe later on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll get the setups for the shorts, or at least the shorts I'm looking for. Anyway, and then some yen pairs, I'm still waiting for some strong breaks, like Aussie yen. That needs to have a really big breakout of the consolidation first before you even contemplate looking to sell. So a lot of work needs to be done for some of them. Hey, what's up, Lord? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Hope the weekend was good, well rested, ready to go again. I think it's going to be an interesting end to the year because we're seeing a lot of momentum in the market recently. I think that's going to sustain until at least Christmas time, until those final 2 weeks at the end of the year, from like the 21st till like the 3rd of Jan or something like that. Excuse me. That's normally when the markets will go dry again, or at least drier. And that's probably times where I start to relax my trading, especially the last week of the year between Christmas and New Year's. But from now till at least the 20th of December, 21st of December, it's definitely foot on the gas pedal of opportunities. If they come, they're probably going to come fast, especially with the yen pairs. You're going to see some big moves to end the year off. So if there's a short opportunity, I'm definitely going to take it, and definitely going to just let that play out as much as possible. And what I mean is just trail stops, really. Just give it the room it needs, to be honest, because the potential is there. And that's one of the key lessons I've learned with trading stops. Sometimes it's more sensible to be aggressive. Sometimes it's more sensible to be loose. You don't want to just have one size fits all, because trading is a very unique thing in terms of your setups. Of course, in terms of your patterns you trade and your criteria, that's the same thing, or at least it should be the same thing. But each setup's different. Like a short right now on Aussie yen, for example, where you could potentially see a swing back to the low and a continuation of that bearish move, is a very different short to if I go to Euro USD and try and short a pullback here after such a big move. It's a different short. Therefore, if you're going to take a short here, you want to be a bit more aggressive, not give the trade as much room as it needs, because the chances are we're probably going to have a pretty big bounce down for Euro. But go take a look at Aussie yen. We've already had a massive trend for the past 2 years, and we've seen a really big sell-off. There's a chance we might see a continuation of that. So I'm going to be a lot less aggressive with my trading stops, give it more room to breathe, and try and let the trade breathe a lot more. So that's a big lesson I've learned since using trading stop losses, that you don't want to be equally aggressive or equally conservative with each trade, because it doesn't make sense to. Some trades, it would make sense just to let that stop loss be at whatever price it is, and let the trade do its thing. And some other times, yeah, you want to get that stop loss right underneath that low if the market's going to be very choppy, especially if we're approaching a big level, because the chances are we're going to bounce anyway. So yeah, it's a big lesson to learn. In terms of just take profits, again, you want to be aggressive and conservative in similar situations. Like, for example, here you want to be a bit more aggressive with your targets, have bigger targets, but then for euro shorts, you don't want to stay in that for too long. Same thing with silver, same with gold as well. Well, silver too as well. But gold, if I do get a nice short on gold, I'm going to let gold do its thing, because gold could really fall as well. I know it's still technically counter trend against this higher time frame trend there, 100%. But I've got good reason to expect more downside. Number one, we've had a lot of momentum, and number two, broken through structure as well. So in terms of my books, that implies more downside. And there's an area here which we could come and retest, which kind of makes sense on the weekly chart. If you kind of map out the breakout this year to where price topped out with the fib, you got the 50%, 0.618 in those areas. A healthy pullback for gold would take us into that level. So it makes sense for us to see that move down. And the market's still pretty stretched as well. So being able to adapt and tailor your strategy and your management to the setup you're trading can be a big difference. At the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, really on your P&L. Not big as in it's going to revolutionize your trading. Of course not that. Your strategy always will be the key component there. But in terms of getting a few extra R here and there, just adapting your trade management to what the trade is can be really effective. Even simply just altering your risk a little bit, which is a little bit careful. So it's slippery slope that. So I want to say that a bit carefully, because I don't even do that, but I do know traders who do, in terms of altering their risk, in terms of the quality of the opportunity. Increasing a little bit. Say you normally risk 1% of the position, maybe risking 1.5% on a really good position. Can be a few extra R again at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year as well. But slippery slope there, because some people can abuse that and then just increase risk unnecessarily, increase it too much as well, and you're a bit more drawdown. So if you're not confident, you not really know your best setups, don't do that. But if you know in particular what setups perform pretty well and you know exact conditions, then you can look to increase it. Short CHF right now. Okay, Lord is in the trade. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish on the yen pairs. CHF isn't what I'm looking at in particular, to be honest. Mainly because it's still a little bit corrective. I mean, I like the momentum we had on Friday. That's a nice little move there, showing some intent, and of course breaking the lows there too. But overall, the move has been pretty corrective. So until this kind of keeps going and really break structure as well, that would really tick my boxes. And then yeah, I'll be looking to see if I can join you, because if we are going to sell off with the yen pairs and get back to the lows here, there's a long way to go. I don't need to necessarily get on the top or the highest possible trade opportunity. I can still make a decent risk rewards a little bit later on. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for personally. But when did you get short ordered? Is it this morning, or was it before the week ended last week? I do like it to the downside. I do like CHF to the downside, but I like Euro Yen, Pound Yen, and CAD Yen a lot more. The chair keeps clicking. I need to oil that or get a new chair. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for CHF JPY. I think just because it's a little bit too corrective in this move down, has put me off the trade a little bit. But if we can keep going, break structure, I'll be looking to see if I can join you, or at least in a yen pair. And that's the only thing I don't like about CHF JPY. But if we can break structure, that opportunity will just be a lot better for me in terms of ticking my boxes, because it means all that bullish momentum we had in the past here is kind of just evaporated. Price is now taking out that low that gave us that move. And hopefully if you do it with a lot of momentum, yeah, that'll be a great trade to take. And I'm expecting a lot more downside, at least back to some of these areas here where that initial bullish momentum came from. So yeah, C50Y could be a trade to take for me, but I need a little bit more from it. But overall, I do think the yen pairs are likely to push down. So if one's going to push down, they're all going to push down. Really, it depends really what yen wants to do. And I had a look at the Japanese index. Yen's not looking too good, to be honest. Really rejecting that level there. So if that sustains, I do think price is going to keep falling. And of course, we had a look at the JPY basket as well, which has broken out of structure. And yeah, I'm expecting that to push up as well. So it does look like yen is going to see some weakness. It does look like yen's going to see some weakness. And I mean, some strength, sorry. It looks like yen's going to see some strength. And of course, that would translate to the yen pairs moving down. But yeah, at the moment, pound yen is definitely my favorite because that's broken structure, look bearish, left behind a nice level to short from. So that's looking good to get involved with. We'll just stay patient for that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs. In terms of some of the other crosses, which I haven't really spoken about, to be honest, I did speak briefly about some of, well, we spoke about one CAD pair, which was EuroCAD, which was on the watch list last week. But as I said, I did take it off because price is not really doing its thing for me anymore. Yeah, price is not really doing its thing for me anymore, which is in terms of the wick on the weekly chart. Not a big fan of that at all. If that closed bearish, and then this week we came up, that would be so much better. But the wick there is not good, particularly on breakouts as well. So yeah, I'm kind of easing back off my EuroCAD bias. Not that we can't still sell off from that level, it's just not my watch list anymore. Pound CAD looks a lot better, I would say. And the only reason why it's not my watch list is because I've already got a few pairs I'm looking at, to be honest. So I don't want to crowd the watch list. I already had quite a few opportunities this week, to be honest. So I had to kind of pick the better ones. I try not to have more than 5 or 6 pairs on my watch list. And that includes markets I'm already trading as well. Because I want to keep my focus tailored to the best setups. And if I can find more than 5 or 6, then I can always refine that to better trades anyway. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with EuroCAD. In terms of pound CAD, it's a similar trade opportunity. We broke to the downside of a lot of momentum this week, of course, leaving behind some nice structure just behind us. If we can get there again, I think it's a solid place for a short. Next lower high, continue with all of these lower highs previously, and see a push back into the low, which would be this level of support. Because with pound CAD, which is significant, you've broken out of that ascending trend line. Seen a strong break of that. So a retest will hit 2 birds with 1 stone there. Retest the trend line and retest the level of support. And then from there, we can see the continuation back into 1.77 and maybe further as well. So I think pound CAD's a nice opportunity. Again, because I've got a few pairs I'm looking at, that's why it's not my watch list, but I think it's a good trade, to be honest. And we can see some more downside from there. In terms of Aussie CAD, these guys are actually trading at some significant areas of support, really. If I go to the daily chart, you can see the ascending channel. This is definitely bullish territory now for Aussie CAD and the area we could bounce from. I do think eventually we'll break through, but I need price to give us the break first before I start looking into that. And then, yeah, it could be some really nice shorts to take to the downside, but at the moment, we just don't have that yet. So I need price to give us that break. And at the moment, we're holding a support. And New Zealand CAD is literally a spitting image of that. We've got a lovely ascending channel. Price is now testing the lower end of that channel and rejecting it somewhat well. So again, need to wait for price to break through because that's the move I'm interested in. And then I can speak about the shorts shortly afterwards. But yeah, not interested just yet. In terms of the indices, so yeah, indices I am still pretty bullish on, still expecting a lot more upside with the indices. We've seen some nice retracement on Friday, in particular to NAS and in particular to S&P. NAS almost testing a nice area. You can see the ascending channel price has been moving in, a lot of high lows. I said it would be nice if price can come back into this area. Back into this area here and look for another bounce. And yeah, look for a push to the upside, coming back to the low end of the channel, retesting some nice demand here where we consolidated for a few days before absolutely exploding to the upside for the US elections. So that to me looks like a nice area we could bounce from. I'm not as confident that I would push it back to the high because price is still very corrective, and I'm not a big fan of how we created new highs. We just about took up the high with this move very impulsively, consolidated and impulsively shot down. Not really healthy price action. You want to see impulse up and correct and move down. I'm not saying we can't have any impulsive candles on the way down, but I don't want to see a completely impulsive move down, kind of like what we had here. A nice impulsive move up, and price was pretty corrective for the most part. That was pretty impulsive, but overall price is really corrective, which is what I'm looking too long. I don't want to be seeing price give me such a strong move like that. So not that the buys are invalid or not there. It's just I wouldn't necessarily look for the continuation all the way to the high. And then in terms of US 500, I think that's a nice place for a buy as well. In fact, retesting the level really, really well. Come back into the 50 as well. So if we could see a nice spike to the downside, I think it looks like a really nice place for a buy and take it back to where we came from, which is 6K pretty much. This one was impulsive, but it's still relatively small compared to the bullish leg. So I still like the longs here a lot better. I said earlier in the stream, we might see one more move down, a bearish start to the US session. Maybe you might spike the low first, but if you can hang on to that level, I think the buyers will eventually develop pretty well. We could see some nice longs, and same thing for US 30 as well, which is, it's quite far away from the low end of the channel. If we go to the daily chart, you can see how price has been moving. Really nice ascending channel, multiple tests of the lower end, and now looking for another test of that same area. Strong rejection of the high, slight fake out to the upside, but overall price has had a lot of trouble rejecting that level. Breaking out of that level. It's been doing pretty well at rejecting that level. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at there for US 30. And in terms of buys, this is the zone I'm looking at. 42,200 is where I'm looking to take some buys from. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for the indices. Overall, still pretty bullish, but I do think at least for US 30 and at least for NAS, there's a bit more room to the downside. And then from S&P, we're already at a big level, so there could be some buys as early as this afternoon for S&P. Let me know what you're looking at for the indices as well. What's up, Glenn? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Weird after last week. I'm looking at GA. What are your thoughts? Okay, let me take a look at pound Aussie. Seen a bit of movement, quite a lot of movement for the markets as of late. And again, if you're not seeing comfortable price action, then don't trade. It's kind of the best thing to do. At the end of the day, when you do take a trade, you're risking money. So only risk money when the odds are in your favor, really. And if things are not good, you're not too confident, you can always just stick the trade in a demo account, or reduce your risk. You can reduce your risk as well. If you're normally risking 1%, risk half, risking 2, risk 1. Always play to, because there's two elements of trading. There's the chart and there's yourself. If you look at sports people, when they're not doing too good on form, it tends to go from bad to worse. It's normally they're getting in the way of themselves. Same with trading, any performance-based activity. Sometimes we can trip ourselves up. So if you're not on it and not too confident, reduce risk. You can always increase it to what you normally risk when all is well. So yeah, in terms of pound Aussie, there's a slight uptrend here, still very, very corrective. I have to say the conditions of pound Aussie aren't particularly great. They're all over the shop. Prices forming really aggressive wicks up and down. And yes, the market is slowly pushing up, but it's been a difficult one to participate in. Overall, with pound Aussie, do like the buy setup if we do push back into this area here, 1.93981 to be specific. You can see a lot of rejections down the weekly chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wicks into that area. And of course, this kind of exaggerated one as well. If price was to push back into that level, I think you're probably going to see another rejection. Whether it continues back to the high or not, that's a different question. But you can see the high lows we are forming. I think if you can see another spike into that zone, this is obviously a nice place to try and position yourself for a long trade. A bit more of a swing trade, to be honest, because we go to the 4-hour chart. There's a lot of downside needed to be had before we get there. We need to really sell off first before we speak about the buys, but that's really the area which I would look to get involved with. Yeah, I'm not too sure about current prices. I feel like it's just very difficult to get a nice trade here. This is where a lot of congestion is. You want to focus your trades, at the extreme. So down here, up here, up there, down here, and preferably down here as well. Of course, a bit of hindsight plays into that, but it's the idea that, okay, if you've got choppy conditions, you want to be up high, down low. You want to be selling higher than other sellers, buying low than other buyers. That's how you find really nice opportunities in ranging markets. If people can get stopped out, then you get in the market. It's always going to be a nice trade. And if price does keep going and stop you out, we're probably going to see the breakout anyway. So you don't be looking to short and stay in that trade anyway. And you can look to flip that bias around. But it's in these areas where you're going to find a lot of difficulty, get stopped out a lot, and just not find really good quality trades because, it's very difficult to perform well in the middle of a range where there's a lot of indecision. Markets are hard to trade. You don't want to make it any harder than that. So, yeah, I would be looking around 1.93 for some opportunities. At least we're at the low here, back at that kind of area there. And we can probably anticipate at least the bounce. Price might not necessarily continue back to the high, but I doubt you're looking for such a big move anyway. In terms of current price, I'm not a big fan. I can see we're rejecting this area pretty well. You might see a nice short-term rejection, but I wouldn't look for anything crazy. I'll be, in and out sort of trade. If you can get there, great. See some rejection, great. Take a trade. See a few candlesticks down. I'll be ready to be looking to pull profits. I don't want to be staying in too long in these areas. So if you're looking the short term, that could be something you look at. If you're looking for a bigger swing, this would be something I'll look at. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound Aussie. Not my favorite pair in the world right now. No problem, Lauder. Happy to help. Okay, Harry, we'll take a look at the DAX. Let me know what you're looking at with the DAX. I haven't actually looked at this one since last week. Okay, so last time we had a nice bounce of that level. Okay, I remember. So yeah, DAX, really nice bounce off 18,900, retesting that high. I did say watch out on this one because, yeah, price had a really nice bounce. We were looking pretty bullish, but I'm not quite sold because we've had a lot of correction on the way down. So there's a lot of obstacles to maneuver. So the buys do look good at this low here, 18,900. Yeah, that's about it, to be honest. I would wait for price to get back down there again before looking for any entries. Solid rejection when we were there, of course, was prior resistance as well and support there as well. So I know price is respecting this area pretty well. And we would see another big wick like that. There's a good chance price is going to bounce too, and that could be a nice buy. In terms of targets, I would be watching out at these areas, and of course the high over there. This is where price has showed a lot of respect to recently. Overall, this is just really choppy markets, but when you are looking to trade choppy markets, you're looking to buy low, sell high, as I keep mentioning. This is really where you want to focus your efforts for a buy. I wouldn't really be looking for shorts, to be honest. Maybe if we have another spike to the upside, that could end up being a nice short. As we continue with the lower highs here, that could be the next one. I'm not quite sold on shorting that and having a stop loss here. I think that's really risky. Price just tagging that before dropping. So maybe if you have another move, you can look for shorts around here. But if you're looking for a buy, this is the no-brainer setup. Of course, waiting for confirmation, not jumping straight in, but that's where I'll be situated. So yeah, DAX a little bit ugly at this time, but the buys look pretty sensible. Sells too, but I would wait for at least another push to the upside. Yeah, this is the zone I would short from, but I think we're due a spike before selling off. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be eyeing up for the DAX. But overall, the trend is still to the upside. So longs is still the best bet for now. Hence why, if you can get back there again, there's probably a good chance we do bounce. Still enjoying silver long? Yes, just about. Still in silver longs. It's not quite hit my first target yet, so I'm still nursing that trade. My first target's only just above us at that level, 30.31, pretty much on the dot. Yeah, 31. So I'm looking for us to get into that level before I start to remove risk in terms of trading stops to break even. It's moved okay so far. It's obviously a little bit against the grain given that USD's been so strong. So I'm kind of going against that bias a little bit. But then again, I do expect a bit of relief on USD anyway. Haven't really had that yet. So if USD can sell off a little bit this week, that'd be great. I'll probably give silver a big kick, a kick to kickstart some bullish momentum. So if USD can be a bit weak, that'd be great. But yeah, it's been slowly grinding high. It's looking okay. Like I said, that is my first target to remove risk. And this is really where I'll probably pull the trades or at least close a lot of the trade because that is a really big zone there on the daily chart, which does frighten me. And the fact is, I'm actually still looking to sell gold, really. So I'm taking advantage of some short-term buys here with silver. My main trade I'm after is actually the shorts on gold. So this is like the starter. And I'm looking at sells on gold as the main course, really, because I really like the opportunity of the big break of structure over there. So this is really the move I'm looking at, and I think that's going to be a big move if it does happen. Whereas silver, although yes, I am kind of pro trend still, pro trend overall, it's just running out of juice, and I'm not quite convinced that we just shoot for the moon suddenly. But yeah, so far it's looking okay. I can't complain. So yeah, hopefully a bit more upside this afternoon. Tag 31, remove risk, and then we just see what happens from there. And then hopefully, if we do keep pushing up, that will drag gold to the upside with it. And because I'm still looking for a lot more upside for gold before I short. You need gold to be trading around 26.50 before I even start to look for short. So gold for me still got a big push up. And hence, if gold's still got a big push up, silver might still have a big push up. And that's probably what I'm looking to profit from. And then I can look to, probably close silver off and then start to look to take some sells on gold. So that'll be the best case scenario, really. But yeah, it's moving okay. That's the only position I have on at the moment. I think New Zealand CHF is the closest to potentially finding another trade, which is the long from 0.515. It's between New Zealand CHF and pound yen shorts. Pound yen's not too far away either. Yeah, the level up there. So they're both pretty much similar distances between current price and the levels I want to get involved with. So I have to keep one eye on pound yen and another eye on New Zealand CHF. And they're not really correlated with silver either, too. So I don't mind getting into them. Even if I haven't got silver to break even yet, because it's not really a correlated trade or a correlated market. Hey, what's up, Lockdown? I hope you're doing good, my man. Welcome to the stream. How quickly do you often gaps get filled in the XY? Gap at 103.6. That's a difficult question, really. I don't really watch the XY like that for how long gaps get filled. Those are the type of questions that you would have to kind of like just go research and back test, and you'll find the answer to that. If you don't really look for that, then you're not going to know the answer, which is in my case. I don't really look for how quickly gaps get filled. I don't really watch out for gaps too much, to be honest. I know if I do see a gap, I do keep an eye for it. but it's not something I'm banking on or something that's incorporated in my trading plan. Because most of the time in FX, you don't really see gaps very often, and normally if they do happen, they're very small, and normally they get filled pretty quickly too. DXY, don't really keep a note of that, but I can see the gap you're referring to. I think it's this one here. So yeah, the market is definitely steered away from that. You know, price is all the way up there. Of course, the idea is that gaps, they do always eventually fill, and that's true for the most part. You know, 99% of gaps will eventually fill. Probably if you wait long enough, it'll probably be 100. So they do eventually fill, but there will be times where gaps will form and price will go through a complete bullish trend before coming back to fill it. So that could be a long, long time. And the thing is, with a gap, you normally want it to fill within the few days of the week starting. I know with FX, if you have a gap in the market, you know, by Tuesday, Wednesday, you're kind of expecting that gap to already be filled. Really, if a whole week has passed and we're still pushing away from the gap, I wouldn't really be looking for that gap to be filled. I know it eventually will, but it's not something I would be looking to trade to really, or at least aggressively. If it's the start of the week, then yeah, that's pretty much the move you're expecting the price to do. Go fill that gap straight away, by Tuesday, Wednesday. Now that we've kind of pulled away, and I think that's 2 weeks ago now, Wednesday, Tuesday, 5th, well, of course, the start of November. That's the 5th, 4th of November. It's the 7th, 18th now. So that's kind of like 2 weeks ago. So I wouldn't really be looking to target that gap. You can do, but I would be looking at having other targets beforehand, like that high there. I think is a more reasonable target to have. Since it's been a couple of weeks since the gap has happened, I wouldn't be looking to target that. But yeah, most gaps by Wednesday, you're kind of expecting it to fill. If we haven't done it by then and 2 weeks have gone past, I wouldn't be looking to target that. The market is a little bit too bullish for that. I mean, I'm expecting a move down for gold for the DXY. I just had two markets there that just weren't the market I was looking to speak about. But yeah, DXY, I'm looking for a move down from this area. It's more just to do with a reaction. I'm not necessarily looking for a complete reversal here, even though that could be the possibility because all we've been doing is ranging. Who knows? Maybe this is the next move to happen. But at least to expect a reaction here. So I'm pretty bearish in USD. It's not necessarily to go fill the gap, but I am looking for us to trade in that direction. And I do have a level which I am looking for price to test. It is this one here. I'm looking for price to go and hit its head on that high. Because for Euro USD, I'm looking for us to do the exact opposite, which is go and retest that low at 1.07. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the dollar. I do think weakness is due. I do think upside is due for the USD pairs because they're just kind of overstretched. It's just about waiting until the time is right, really, and not looking to get caught on them because I know a lot of retail traders past couple of weeks would have been buying as the market's been falling and really in some dodgy situations right now. And don't get me wrong, I bought as well. But I was out of the trade. I trailed out for a small profit. And since that buy, which was back over here just before the US elections, I haven't really found another good buy opportunity since then. And even though we're trading at nice area, we could bounce. I wouldn't look to jump straight in just because the market's been so bearish. But yeah, I do think we'll see some upside pretty soon. But yeah, so for me, I'm just going to keep an eye on silver, really. Keep an eye on silver, keep an eye on pound yen and New Zealand CHF. Those two look likely to give me a setup. Probably not today, probably not even tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. This is the 4-hour time frame we're working with. Every candle represents 4 hours, so it's gonna still take a little bit to get going. Let me actually check the news this week. I haven't actually done that yet. Especially regarding yen. Okay, so today nothing pretty much. Yeah, nothing today, so everything's good. Okay, we do have RBA Aussie um, meeting minutes at 12:30. Not expecting anything big there, so all is okay so far. I'm not really looking to trade any Aussie anyway. Then we've got CPI inflation for Euro at 10 a.m. tomorrow UK time. That could be interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not really looking to trade any Euro pairs either, so not really too of my concern. But if you are trading Euro, keep an eye on that. Then we have CAD CPI in the afternoon, 1:30. Again, not really looking to trade a CAD pair apart from CAD Yen, but I've still got some work to do. So I probably won't be in a trade before then anyway. So not to worry too much. We do have JPY balance of trade in the evening on Wednesday as well. That could be interesting. I'm looking to trade some yen pairs as well. And they've got inflation rate for pound at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. Yeah. Pound yen I'm looking to trade. So need to keep an eye on that one. The rest of Wednesday, not much. Thursday, not much really. Jobless claims, but nothing big. Existing home sales, nothing major. Okay, in the evening, we've got JPY inflation rate. That could be big. And then Friday, PMI for USD. That's about it. So not really a big week this week. A few news here and there, but nothing crazy. At least with USD anyway. Nothing big. PMI on Friday might cause a bit of movement, but it's not an NFP, it's not a CPI, it's not Fed interest rates, definitely not a US election either. So um, yeah, for me, it's gonna be a pretty normal week for me. Um, Kevin, I wonder what news drops out of the spot. US news will be pretty dry all week. Yeah, that's a good actually a good outlook actually, because we don't have major news this week, and you would be looking at major news to get things moving really with the dollar. So that's a good point actually. Didn't think of that. Um, I mean, the market's funny. Sometimes you don't even need news to see momentum. Sometimes it could just be a random Tuesday and the market would just start moving. Of course, there'll be something to do with fundamentally that probably is not like a scheduled news event, but something might have happened to have caused that move. But yeah, there's nothing on paper. I mean, like I said, maybe the PMI on Friday might do that, but we'll see. I mean, I'm a very technical based trader, so I'm just going to wait for the market to show me movement, show me momentum, show me opportunities before I do anything, and nothing happens. Then there is nothing to do, unfortunately. But that's a good point, though. That is a good point. All right, have a good one locked down. Afraid to buy any yen pairs because of that intervention last week. Okay. No, yeah. I'm looking to sell the yen pairs. Really, to be honest, I'm looking to sell. But yeah, really big sell to the downside on Friday. I think that's a sign of more to come there, Kevin. I think that's a sign of more to come. There's a strong move to the downside for the yen pairs, all kind of flushed on Friday. And I just think the yen pairs, especially at some heights right now, like pound yen's been on a nice uptrend, grinding higher. I think we've hit some heights now where it's time to see a bit of a sell. So I'm actually looking for price to push down now. Um, with the yen pairs, in particular pound yen, euro yen, and CAD yen, the ones I like. So I'm not bullish anymore on the yen pairs. I'm looking to sell them. And I think we're probably going to see more downside to come, really. I think that Friday movement is a sign of more to come. All right, no problem. We'll have a good one, man. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you who has liked the stream so far. Like I said, it helps out. Of course, subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. Helps help the channel to grow as well. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future because you'll be notified. But yeah, appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. Kojo, any thoughts on Euro Pound? Okay, Euro Pound. I haven't actually looked at this one today. So yeah, Euro Pound's trading at its lovely level of support on the weekly, monthly time frame. So overall, I'm expecting a bounce there for Euro Pound. You know, look at the level we've been trading on. Look how many wicks we've been pushing into these areas. You know, naturally, you're going to be expecting price to see some upside. Of course, eventually we are going to break through. You know, support and resistance doesn't hold forever, but I'm always going to expect it to bounce until it doesn't. You know, if we see price break through, I'll stand aside and I'll start looking for the breakout opportunities. But for now, still above the level, still looking for a bounce. So taking that information to the low time frames, dropping right down to the 4-hour chart. Let's move this out of the way. We know it's there. You know, the setup we were discussing last week was the retest of this low here, since that looked like it was just a big fake out, which it was. Price broke straight back above, used that as support, really nice buy to the upside. Looks like now price is trying to break through resistance there as well. I still think that's the best place for a long because you're right down at the lows. You got a nice place to put your stop loss. And since you already had a fake to the downside, you know, price stops down here, already would have been liquidated before, seeing some upside as well. This could be the next best place for a buy. Say if we get some sustained bullish momentum, this could open up the door to some nice longs on the retest of that area. But yeah, this is just better because it's a little bit lower down. It's testing a bigger level and a safer place for a stop as well. So that would be my preferred opportunity for Euro Pound, but that would be the next best thing. And yeah, in terms of targets, I'll be looking at the resistance up here. Big rejection once, second time there again. Good chance we can get back to that same area. I know there's a lot of upside in the cards, but you want to be a little bit careful with Euro Pound. Euro Pound's not exactly your free-flowing pair. And, you know, we could eventually reverse, but we might spend, you know, a few weeks here consolidating before eventually price does push. I mean, look at the last time we're at this area. So much consolidation before price actually decided it finally wants to move to the upside. So, you know, price might do something similar again. So I wouldn't shoot for the moon, but I would definitely be looking for the longs at these lows here. And we've got some healthy targets to aim for. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Pound. Still bullish. Still looking to take some upside. Johnny, what's up? Okay, dollar yen. We will take a look at dollar yen, no problem. So yeah, USD JPY, another yen pair, which I'm not actually looking to short, to be honest. This yen pair has still been grinding higher. So as I said, I'm pretty bearish on the yen pairs, but dollar yen, not so much. Has a broken structure, hasn't given me any bearish structure. So it hasn't really implied much selling opportunity. I know we sold off somewhat aggressively there, but I need price to go and break structure, really. I need price to go and break structure and continue that momentum. And if it does, then I'll be looking for some downside, and then I'll be looking for price to continue falling. In terms of targets, there's a nice, on the daily chart, there's a nice high here on the left, which I would look to target there, just underneath 150. I think that's a nice place for a short. And the market's pretty overextended as well. We've had a really nice move to the upside, but to me, we're hitting some heights where I think the market's a bit too stretched and is likely to kind of contract and see a retracement. So even though the bigger move might still be to the upside, I do expect us to have that bigger retracement first. But yeah, if I'm going to short dollar yen, it's because we're breaking structure. That was the low that gave us that high. So I want price to go and break through that before looking for some more downside. And that will be the opportunity which I'll look to take. But as I said earlier, with the yen pairs, they like to do the same thing. Other yen pairs look a little bit better than dollar yen. I think the reason being is because USD has been so strong. So it's a bit difficult to short dollar yen in particular compared to like pound or euro or CAD. So yeah, hopefully we can see price break that structure and then that'll open up the door to some nice shorts. Hey, taking notes there, Tony Gold. Hope you're doing good, my man. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at there for dollar yen. There is a lot of downside opportunity, but the other yen pairs look better, so that's where I want to spend my time looking for setups. But who knows, if USD does reject 107,200 on the DXY, we could see price really tank, and dollar yen might be one of the better yen pairs to trade. But at the moment, not quite there yet. Still a long way to go at that level. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at with USD JPY. Seeing a bit of downside this morning. Is dollar looking a little bit strong? Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, USD is pushed up a little bit. But again, I'm not going to read too much into that because overall we've just been consolidating really. So, and I do think we'll probably push up first before a sell. I think that could end up being a really nice sell actually. Sell right at the high, push up, take up the highs here. Any previous traders with stops above the high would be liquidated. And then you get into your trade and you take the sell. And you're still trading from the same area, expecting the same move. Of course, price might be breaking the high to continue trending up. And if that's the case, you stop out. But you can refine your risk there, small risk in terms of pips anyway. In terms of the reward, very high. And of course, looking for the inverse of that on Euro. Because Euro is pretty much consolidating, as we can see there. And again, looking for price to go and take that to the downside. And then you get your trade there to the upside. And that type of pattern works really well, especially if you can go counter trend against the trend, because you get price flushing to the downside first, create the new low, so it's likely to retrace. And now, of course, you've already taken out some prior liquidity. You're getting ready for that push up. Whilst price is moving sideways, it's tempting to get long, but especially when price being so bearish, there might be one more flush before we do push up. And if it does happen, it's a great confidence for a trade anyway. And you want to wait for great opportunities if you are going to try and catch the falling knife, because we've been so bearish. And although we do expect to bounce, who says we can't break through? It's a bit like this move here. Price was very bearish. It eventually did bounce, but I can guarantee you a lot of people will be looking for the bounce at this low here, and that didn't happen. It went a little bit further. Of course, it did bounce at this low eventually. Anyone who looked to get in there would have made some nice profit, but I know a lot of people would have longed from there, which didn't play out. So it's always that case when price has been falling. Yes, we can hit some big levels where price might bounce from, but you want to wait for evidence first before getting involved, and then you can strike. Or you just follow the trend and wait for momentum, wait for price to retrace and look for shorts to continue that. Much safer trade. Probably doesn't move the furthest because you already had such a big drop. But it's a much safer trade and you'll get a high win rate with those type of opportunities. Appreciate it, Dre. I appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the stream, drop a like. Just as Dre has mentioned there, it does help out the stream. And if you're finding it useful, informative, enjoying the streams, it does help out a lot. But we're trading at some really big prices where I'm very keen, just in terms of like an analytical point of view, not even necessarily trading. I'm very interested to see what we do here for euro dollar, because this is humongous support. This is support back in 2016 that held us very well, and it's doing a good job pretty much now as well. But if it does break through, I'm expecting a one-way path all the way down to that low there, 0.97. And if that's the case, I'm just going to be looking to short the pullbacks all the way to that low. And that would be a really nice opportunity for the next 2-3 months or however long it takes us to get there. So if you do break through that, it's a very significant break, because I'm expecting euro dollar to keep falling back to parity and underneath it as well. And maybe new lows too. Price has been trending pretty well to the downside of the monthly chart, pretty consistent lower highs for quite a while here. Is this price creating another one to push back to the lows? Could well be. And I think a break of that low will just point that out to me. And then on the flip side, we could very much hold this and see a massive reversal, just like we've seen previously too. So it could be a big level, and it'd be a big significance for the near future, really. But for now, we're testing key support, so I expect price to bounce here, and then we'll see from there. Yeah, I mean, I don't trade the DXY. I always look at the DXY for reference and trade the USD pairs. But yeah, the thing about a fake out is always, if you do get faked out, you can always look to re-enter afterwards, as long as you get your confirmations, of course. All right, Lauda, take care. Thank you for coming to the stream. But yeah, guys, that does bring us to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, guys, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't checked out already, check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. You can find discount opportunities there. You can chat with other traders, join the community. Me myself, I'm there. Share opportunities I'm looking at. So if you want to connect, make sure you check out the Discord channel. The link to that is in the description and at the top of the chat, so you definitely can't miss out on that. And yeah, we'll be live again every day this week, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you haven't seen the market you're looking at today, hopefully we'll see it tomorrow. Just drop it down in the chat and we'll eventually get to it. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in to the stream. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.